Welcome back to my channel for a short Leica Q3 episode, and I'm talking here about the Q3 43, which currently is my personal most favorite camera. I really love carrying this camera with me, and there will be another video where I will even talk about shoulder straps, which is totally unusual for math photographer, right? I've mentioned so many times that I don't use shoulder straps. I don't like to have something around my neck. This camera really makes me change my habits. But that's not the topic of this video. You just saw this small package from FedEx flying through the air, and in it there were two things. Two accessories for the Leica Q3 43. They are both from Freewell. Let's think about that name for a moment. Maybe feel free to feel well, whatever it is. I like the name, Freewell. And a person from Freewell called Max reached out to me and asked me, would you be willing to do a review of these additional accessories for the Leica Q3 43? And I said, yes, of course, why not? I'm always interested to learn something new. But to be clear, I'm not paid for the video and I'm not affiliated in any way with Freewell. Whatever I will present in the next few minutes are my own thoughts, and I will share my own experience. And now let's kick this off. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. I'm super grateful for your support and for your support for this community here on my channel. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell and share my videos, and in this way help me to grow my platform here. Many thanks for that. All right, so let's start by looking at what I currently have on my Q3 43. So here I already have thumb support, and this is one which is original from Leica. Let me disassemble it, let me get it off. There are two buttons here, and these buttons are in sync with the two buttons on the Leica Q3 43, so you don't lose any functionality, and it actually helps you to stabilize your grip. And everyone who watched my videos in the past knows I'm obsessed by hand grips, so here is the original Leica hand grip mounted. Gives me a much better grip than if the camera body would be flat here. And here I have additional support for my thumb, and that's actually super convenient. But what I'm losing, of course, is the hot shoe functionality. Now, whatever goes into that hot shoe here will no longer be a hot shoe, even if I would be able to mount something on top of it, because then there should be a wire through of these contacts here. And that's not what Freewell is offering here, but they at least offer support for mounting additional accessories. So let's put the original Leica camera, Wetzlar, Germany thumb support aside, and let's have a look into what they sent to me here. It's actually very low weight. It feels good in the hand. Let's try to open this up. Let's see how this opens. I think it opens here. And let's have a look inside and see what we got. This is actually very difficult to get out. Okay, first of all, we get a sticker. If we get totally convinced about that brand, Freewell, we can put this on our car. And maybe let's open it from here too, and then push this through. Very solid packaging. Here we go. Well protected. Unlock your warranty. Secure your product's coverage today. It only takes a minute to register and ensure lasting peace of mind with our limited lifetime warranty. So there's a lifetime warranty coming with their accessories, which is actually also true for the real lens hood. I looked it up on their website. Lifetime warranty. Then we have here a tool. Let's get this out. Is one of these typical screw keys here. We have here two screws. Let's see what this means later on, and let's get the thumb grip out. Here we go. See, and that's kind of the same idea as what we have on the Leica thumb grip. So there are two buttons here. They're a little bit brushed, looks actually good from the finish. And so you don't lose the functionality of these customizable function buttons. You can customize them in the menu. And in addition to the Leica thumb support accessory here, we get a cold shoe. And a cold shoe is not a hot shoe. A hot shoe would be if the wire from the hot shoe mounted on the camera body at the top of the camera body would get wired through to whatever you have here. This is a cold shoe. It means it can hold accessories, but it has no electronic functionality built in. But at least that's an additional feature which we don't have on the original thumb support from Leica. I'm going to show you in a moment what that means, because it enhances your option space of what you can use on the camera here enormously. So let's mount this, let's see how this looks like, and that's the problem if you do trial and error out of the box. It's not fitting, so let me think. There was this tool here in the package and there is a screw here. So let's try to unmount the cold shoe. Let's see if we get this off. Here we go. This is the better handling. Now I can rotate it here and let's see if we can get this off. Here we go. Now it's off and now it should actually fit. Let me try to do this. Easy. And it has the same easiness in applying it and removing it as the original one from Leica. Very nice. So the cold shoe is actually optional. You can take it off and then it looks like the Leica thumb grip. Now let's look at the thumb grip first. There is a texture here, which I like a lot. There is also a texture on the Leica original thumb grip. I don't think it makes a big difference, but it's nice to have it. And the structure is a little bit different. And I think I have this good in my hand in this way. So I like it. And the cold shoe is optional. There is the screw, so we can screw it on. Let's see how this works. Let me get this on here. So let's get the screw in. Here we go. Let's try to do the same procedure as before. And let's screw it on. Very nice. And it sits flat in here. I think I can get this a bit tighter. Let me try to do this a bit tighter even. This direction. Yeah, now it's tight. And it's totally flat, so we have space for additional accessories. It actually looks nice. It's only a cold shoe, but only in quote-unquote, because there's a lot you can do with this, and I'm making a few examples in a moment. So what can you do with a cold shoe? Well, there are a bunch of things. For instance, you might want to have a video light mounted on the camera, on top of the camera, and for this you don't need a hot shoe. That's good enough if it is a cold shoe. So let's mount this quickly. Let's have a look how this looks like. Here we go. Then we screw this on. And here we have the cold shoe in action. A video light on top of the Leica Q3 43. But that's only one option. I want to make another example which is much more interesting, and that's the Atomos Ninja 5. So you can also mount a video monitor, of course, and a recording device on top of it, because that here is also only a cold shoe functionality you need. No hot shoe required. Let's mount this on. Here we go. And then here on the Leica Q3 43, we actually have a micro HDMI port, which we can now use and connect to the Atomos Ninja 5. And in this way, enjoy better video options than what we have standalone in the camera body. So there are a bunch of things you can do with a cold shoe, and I think all in is a good idea to give the original thumb support from Leica an additional functionality or feature in the form of a cold shoe, which you can remove if you don't need it, and then it's kind of the same on the Freewell gear as what you have from Leica. And if you need a cold shoe because you want to mount additional accessories, well, here you go. That's your option now. And by the way, before we turn our attention to what they call the real lens hood, this functionality where you can screw on or off the cold shoe on the thumb grip, that explains now also why in the package we have additional screws. Because if you use these type of tools very often and maybe apply overwhelming force, these screws will not last a very long time. So they intentionally and on purpose included here 2 replacement screws, which you can use for the cold shoe if your first screw, which you had originally, is getting weaker or is no longer working in the way it's supposed to work. Next, let's get all of our attention to the real lens hood. So let's try to open this. First of all, you can look inside here. There is a little bit of explanation already. Remove the existing lens hood and thread the Freewell real lens hood on the lens. It looks pretty simple, straightforward. Like always, I'm trying this out of the box. I have no idea how this works. But you know, it's fun if we explore this together. This time, there is a little lash here where you can pull it out. That's easier. Nothing more inside. All right. And let's get this out here. A little bit of paperwork. Something to clean. Very likely the filters which come with this. Then we have again here the same lifetime warranty. If you register, we have another sticker for our car if we get overly excited about the Freewell products here. And let's basically clean this up. So let's get this in the back. I don't like a mess on the table in front of me. And that's the lens hood. Well, it's the real lens hood, so the real stuff. That's how they call it. Wow, this looks good. This looks actually freakingly good. This is a metal construction here. It feels nice and cold in the hand. Of course, I cannot transport this feeling to you, but it feels super valuable. We come to pricing at the end of the video. Of course, I will give you the price tag on these accessories. And this lens cap here also is nice. See, that fits. There's actually no play here. It fits very well. It has these two buttons, and if you push them, you can remove the lens cap. Very nice. I like it. Snaps on. Pretty well done build quality here. And you see already there are some filters inside. You see it better if you look here. You see the reflections on the glass. So we come to all of that. All right, let me first show you what I have currently mounted here. So instead of the original lens hood, which comes with the Leica Q3 43, I have the additional accessory from Leica, which is a circular lens hood. And I have it because then I have inside the lens hood space for a UV filter which protects my lens. And I made a couple of videos about my original filter problem with the Leica Q3 43 and my personal solution, which you see now here in front of you. There were lots of comments from other Leica Q3 43 shooters under my videos which provided their personal solution, which I really appreciate. Again, when we talk about subscription, guys, this is a really great community. And every idea you share how you solved that filter problem for you when the camera came fresh to market, that was highly appreciated. So we can actually take this UV filter, which is originally from Leica, I think. We can take it off. Yeah, it's a Leica camera Wetzlar filter. Let's put it on the table here. And now we have space here. So here we can screw some additional accessory onto the Aposumicron 43mm. And that's what should happen now with this lens hood here. So let's basically take it in this way. Let's get it here. Let's see how it screws on. And it does. And actually it does it quite nicely. It's very soft, it's a good feeling. This is a very valuable accessory. Well done by Freewell. Let's see how this looks like. And now it sits. It also has a firm stop here, so it snaps in. Listen to that sound. You hear this? So it will always sit nice. Well, the lens cap I mounted in the wrong way, wrong direction, orientation. Here we go. But this looks really good. Okay, so let's try to get to know this real lens hood, and let's start with the lens cap, which fits so nicely. Look at that. It's really nice how it fits. I think I keep this on for my shooting tonight downtown in Zurich. I think I like it. So here we have actually in the lens hood built in an NFC chip. And that means if it gets in contact with a compatible smartphone, it will provide further information, and that is pretty cool, of course. So let's tap this at the back of my Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Complete the action, go to Chrome, and then in Chrome we end up at the Freewell website where we have different choices, what we can do. I guess under digital downloads we find the manual. Let's see if I tap it. Yes, here we go. Then we can go to download for the Q3 43 lens hood. And here we go. This is the manual. So this is super convenient. It's something not many companies do, and it's actually so natural because look how thin this lens hood is, and NFC chips do not consume a lot of space. So why not having access to the manual instead of the usual QR code which you scan with your smartphone camera? Doing it via NFC and just tapping it at the back of your smartphone in order to find the information you're looking for. Then let's have a look at the lens hood here. And the lens hood has actually a magnetic snap-on mechanism. So we saw we can unscrew and screw this, it also snaps in. But you can also open it to get access to a filter. And here you go. That again is a very smart idea. I think this is carefully thought through. And now you see here basically some dark glass, and what that is, it's actually a circular polar filter combined with a black mist filter. And a black mist filter is also called a diffusion filter, or you know, it is supposed to provide a more dreamy cinematic look in your footage, images, but also in video, of course. And this is on. If you don't like that, if you think that a CPL filter permanently on is a really bad idea, then you can also unscrew it. And I show you how this works. We have to hold this firmly And now we can actually remove the whole filter. You see, that's the filter. You, by the way, see on the coloring, if you look through the glass, that this is a polar filter. It polarizes the light. And then why not taking the original Leica UV protector and screwing it in here? Try to do this. Here we go. Now it sits firmly and we can let this thing snap back. So when I posted originally my video on filter problems, this would have clearly solved it. The Leica solution, which cost me additional money, as I said, we come to pricing later, that also solved it. But this here is a smart solution, right? The UV protector, the filter fits below this lens hood. There is enough space and magnetically it snaps in. Listen to the sound. Beautiful, like it. So you can actually screw on here all kinds of filters, whatever you want. Let's get this off again. So this is the original UV protector from Leica, and let's get this polar black mist filter on again. Here we go, and then we let it here in this way. So now we can also move this polar filter, and I don't know if you have ever taken photos with CPL filters, but the trick is to actually rotate the filter. Let me show you. I open this again. Rotating the filter, and there are two knobs here which you can use for that, and you see how the filter is rotating to find the best possible angle for maximum results. Very often it's kind of 90 degrees related to the sun, and that is of course something which in landscape photography, but also if you are dealing with reflections, is very useful. If you have a polarizing filter, it can help you to reduce reflections, and it also strengthens the coloring of the sky, for instance. If you look at that image here, which I've just taken outside of the studio, just from the plain vanilla sky, nothing special, you see actually the effect of the polar filter when you rotate it and when you strengthen the effect of the polarization. So that is very nice. So we can open that thing, we can replace the filter with whatever filter we want and are liking. We have a nice mechanism how to rotate the filter and to achieve different effects and strength. And we have that more dreamy look coming from the black mist or diffusion filter, which takes a little bit of the sharpness away, makes the image a bit more soft, and gives it a dreamy, more cinematic touch. And that, of course, also applies in video. Let's just for a moment do one more experiment. I have here a little candle. This was a promotional gift from Cartier. I like it. It's actually smelling very nicely. And I want to show you the difference when I take an image. That's why I was in macro mode here. I tried this out before. When I take an image with this filter on and off. So let's screw it off. And let's see if we can see some effect already from the black mist. Actually, black mist means there are black diffusing particles in the glass. Let me show you quickly. First of all, if you look through that, you see that this is a CPL filter. It darkens. You also need to make your exposure brighter on the camera, so you go between 1 and 3 stops slower, or you increase the ISO value or open the aperture more, what have you, in the light triangle, depending on what you want to achieve. And in this glass, you will not see it from here, but if the light, actually the sunlight falls directly into that glass, you see glimmering very small microparticles, black, and they are diffusing the light to achieve this dreamy cinematic look. But let's do this quick experiment. Let's see if we see some effect already here. Let's go into macro mode here. Let's take the candle and let's shoot this without, let me lift this up so you can see what I'm doing. Let's shoot this without the black mist filter. Let's get this real lens hood on again, and then let's shoot this again with the filter. Let's see if we see a difference already here in studio. And if you look at these two images, let me try to change between the two. This is the one without the black mist filter. This is the one with the black mist filter. And if you look carefully, you see that this one with the black mist diffusion filter has more glow around the candlelight. Look, this is clean. It's a clean image of candlelight. This is more glowing. I hope you can see it. It's actually very nice, and I think it will be fun shooting with that filter. And if you don't need it any longer, if you don't want it any longer, if you still want to use that ingenious construction here, Then you can, of course, screw this out as I just demonstrated and get a normal protector in, or whatever filter you have appetite for. All right, that's all I wanted to say and show. I hope you liked that presentation. These two accessories from Freewell, the thumb grip with cold shoe, they say here hot shoe, but it's a cold shoe, and the real lens hood, these are really good accessories. I can recommend them, and if we look into the price tag and we compare this with original Leica gear, like for instance the circular lens hood here from Leica, this is significantly more affordable, but the build quality has no compromises. When I showed you this lens hood and the thumb grip, this is really CNC cut aluminum and has high build quality, and everything is carefully thought through, including that there is a firm stop when you screw on the lens hood and it makes that beautiful sound. Nice. So I don't think there are any compromises in terms of quality. I think this is more functional than what we have from Leica, to be honest, because here you have a touch-free mechanism to unscrew any filter you want and easily get it back. There is enough space for thicker filters because this Leica filter is actually not a thin filter, and you also have this mechanism to steer the polarization, and you can, of course, because it's included in the package, use this cinematic effect with the black mist diffusion filter. If you liked that video, don't forget to drop me a thumbs up. Stay tuned on my channel, there's always more to come. Thanks for watching, stay safe and healthy, and of course, peace out.